All right, what's going on, everybody? Brian Zimmerman here, executive editor of Jazz's Magazine and host of Jazz's Live. Welcome to another week of programming. It is Monday, October 12th. And with every Monday, you know what that means. It is Miles Monday, our favorite day of the week, the day we celebrate all things Miles Davis, the man, the myth, the legend, Miles Davis. We're going to be doing this, as always, joined by my faithful co-host, Vince Wilburn Jr. That would be nephew of Miles Davis, Vince Wilburn Jr., and a fantastic drummer in his own right, and a fantastic co-host in his own right. So he'll be here in a minute. We're also going to be joined by today's special guest, actor, playwright, director, photographer, Ntare Guma Mbaho Mwine. You know him as the actor portraying Ronnie on Showtime's The Chi, which at the moment happens to be one of like the great jazz soundtrack shows on TV. His other TV credits include Bosch, Bones, Treme, Heroes, a bunch of other stuff. And his film credits include Blood Diamond, which featured Leonardo DiCaprio, 40, and Queen of Katwe. Most important for this show, though, he is a lover of all things Miles Davis. So we're going to be talking a little bit about everything with Ntare. So without further ado, let's go ahead and welcome my co-host, Vince Wilburn Jr. and Ntare Mwine. Guys, you there?
What's up, B?
Hey. Thank you so much, Ntare, for being here. We really appreciate it. It's excellent to be talking to you.
Happy Miles Monday.
Happy Miles Monday.
Ntare.
Yeah. Hey, so how do you guys know each other?
I think we met through our good mutual friend, Elisa Gallant.
Okay.
But yeah, we're kindred spirits because I felt like a long lost relative of the Miles Davis family. You
are family.
Yeah, when we met, I felt really a strong connection to him, and have been trailing this guy ever since.
Very cool.
That's a big fan, B.
Yeah, awesome. So let's go there. Let's before we get into the acting, I would love to hear about, your first exposure to Miles Davis and to jazz in general. So, Ntare, can you take me back to like when you were a kid growing up? What kind of music was in the house? And then when did Miles Davis enter the equation? And what kind of impact did he have?
We used to listen to a lot of African music in the household, and some jazz and pop, Michael Jackson, all those guys. But I distinctly remember, and maybe you guys can help me track this down, the first time I ever heard and saw Miles was on Saturday Night Live. He performed.
Yeah.
And I've been trying to find this video, and I've never been able to track it down. But
I have a copy. I can send you a copy.
You told me that 2 years ago, bro.
No. I
People are watching now, Vince. We're holding you to it, man.
You told me that years ago.
No. I promise.
But now it's recorded.
Hey, right, exactly.
But I remember he was like in a tank top. It wasn't facing the camera. He was just playing, and I was like, what the hell is going on? Yeah. From that moment on, I just went and I looked up Jean-Pierre, that song. Is that the album? Is it Jean-Pierre, the album as well?
Well, it was up We Want Miles.
Okay.
The album, but Jean-Pierre is the track.
Yeah, Jean-Pierre was the track that he played on Saturday Night Live. And that was my first album, and then from there went back to, Gil Evans and all those classic, Coltrane, and then I was just hooked. And I've been hooked ever since. It's been, yeah.
Very cool, man. That must have been what, 80s, late 80s?
Late 80s.
Yeah, late 80s.
No.
It was We Want Miles.
That might have been earlier because I was.
Yeah.
No, that was early. Yeah, mid 80s maybe.
Okay, yeah.
Because I was in grad school in 89, and I'd seen that before I was in school. So that was, it must have been mid. But Vince should know since he has.
Yeah, We Want Miles was like 81, 82, I think.
Okay,
Yeah.
that could have been right.
Yeah.
That's probably right.
Because when he was coming back on the scene again.
Yeah.
Because it was Man with the Horn, and then We Want Miles when he started touring.
Okay. And then I went and saw him perform live at the Lincoln Center. This is when I was in grad school. And I was a broke student. But
What year was that? What year was that, Ntare?
Sometime between 89 and 92.
Wow. Yeah. Right at the end. What was that like to see him live?
I mean, I was a broke student.
Yeah.
I took every penny I had and bought like the best seat I could afford, which was like literally like, within the first 20 rows or something. And now I'm a photographer, and I was like, man, I should bring my camera to take pictures or do something, And I was like, what? I've been to some concerts where you come with your camera and they don't let you in, they'll kick you out. I was like, I don't want to be kicked out. So let me just go and watch. So I get there, we're sitting in the row, and as soon as lights come down, it's like, everyone in the row is like pulling out these telephones. I was the only person there without a camera.
Oh man.
It's great. It's great acoustics in that hall too.
Yeah, it's great.
Because I played there.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Miles. A beautiful concert hall.
Yeah. And there's no curtains. You walk right on the stage, and you're right on the stage.
Yeah.
Backstage.
But I kicked myself that I didn't, get to take up a picture of myself of him. But I had a great time. I got to see him live.
We have a mental picture.
Yes.
Yeah. And an acoustic one. Yeah, that was So Marcus Miller was in that band, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Very cool. So that's interesting that you started, on that part of Miles and then worked your way back. Mm-hmm. How far deep did your exploration go? Were you getting back to like the Charlie Parker, Birth of the Cool stuff? And
I have almost every album of if you ask me what my biggest collection, if you ask what artist you have the most albums by, your music collection, what would that be for you, Brian?
It would a toss up. I'm a trumpet player, so it's a toss up probably between Clifford Brown, Lee Morgan, and Miles Davis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In my library, there's no toss up. It's Miles.
Right on, man.
Yeah.
Right
Miles,
on.
Miles, and Miles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so because I assume you listen to a lot of jazz, what was it about his sound that really struck you, and captivated you?
I think it's what touched everyone. It wasn't, I'm sure you've had many people on this before. He just had a way of sort of tapping into your soul, into your spirit. And the birth of cool.
Yeah.
He just took it to another level. And it's just like the opposite of, the pendulum swings. So you went from Charlie Parker, that rapid machine gun like, and then he just took it to the other extreme of like playing between the notes almost, and, on the breath.
Saying less with more.
Yeah, exactly. So that
or more with less. Yeah.
That spoke for me. It spoke volumes for me, as an artist, just to try to strive to do that as well.
Very cool, man. This is an impossible thought experiment, but let's say you're on a long drive, and Miles' discography is kind of the radio dial. You got to stretch it like 4 or 5 hours. Where do you tune in? Which part of the discography for a good, solid listening chunk? The early stuff, the late stuff?
I'm still an old fogey in terms of like the 50s.
Yeah.
Was really.
Yeah.
Or a classic time. And it's hard to believe that's the 50s.
I know.
It just blows my mind when I saw the documentary. That was predating all the stuff that was about to come in the mid 60s. It's just crazy to see what these guys were doing in the mid 50s. It's mind blowing.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
Yeah, because I think of that stuff as like much later, but it's not.
Because it sounds so advanced.
Yeah.
When you think it was just coming off the heels of bebop.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very cool. I love all the Verb albums. Your Walkin', Cookin's, Steamens. Mm-hmm. That is absolutely my wheelhouse. Did you play an instrument in Ntare? Did you?
I wish. This is how Miles freak I was. I actually went out to a pawn shop. I bought a trumpet.
Oh man, I feel for you.
I never took lessons. I feel for my neighbors.
Yeah.
And did you play any scales or anything?
I tried to play, but of course it's just It's just it was a sad attempt. But I
It's a
literally
hard
had a
instrument.
trumpet and a mute and tried to imitate the sound, but I never studied any trumpet.
It is an instrument that takes and takes and takes. It never gives. It is a tough one, and Miles made it sound easy. It is not. It is not. How about the acting then? When did your interest in acting first develop? Was it kind of simultaneous with music?
I think I discovered Miles before I was acting.
Wow.
Yeah, because I think I was in high school, possibly. Once Vince tells us the exact date of that Miles on Saturday Night Live, then we'll be able to pinpoint where it was.
Exactly. A lot riding on you, Vince. We need that tape, man.
One more time. Say it again.
Miles on Saturday Night Live.
That was actually in the documentary, a bit of that.
Yeah.
So I want to say 82, 83, maybe.
And let's throw it out there to the internet too. If anybody's watching and they know, they can remember if they've seen it, let us know in the comments.
I joined the band in 85, 84, 85. So it was before that.
All right. We're getting some research. Jeff is on it. He says October 17th, 1981.
81. Okay.
81. Coming up on its anniversary, I guess. Yeah.
October.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was still in high school. Yeah. So I hadn't done any acting. I'd wanted to do some acting, but I was the only black kid in my school. And they were doing plays like The Diary of Anne Frank or The Crucible. Right. And they're like, you can run lights if you want.
Wow. You grew up in New England?
Yes. I was born in New Hampshire, but lived in Cambridge, Mass for a little bit, in the Berkshires. Then went to Canada for high school in Quebec, and went to undergrad at the University of Virginia. So East Coast kid, and now I've been in the West Coast for a while.
Right. And was it just the classic movies, the TV shows you were watching that kind of led you to catch the acting bug?
I don't know if it was that. It was just my mom exposed me to the arts at a young age, and we'd go see, dance, puppet shows, and I was just always drawn to the storytelling,
the
magical world that you can create, on a stage. But I was more of a reserved kid. My mom took me to an audition for this TV show called Zoom.
I know Zoom very well.
Yeah,
Zoom. Yes.
Zoom.
Wow.
And so we went to this audition. You had to sit in a big circle, and we'd go around the room, and everyone would tell a story about themselves. They would ask you to say something, and they came to me, and they go, "Okay, Ntare, can you tell us something about yourself?" And I was just quiet.
Were you shy, Ntare?
I don't know what it was, but I didn't say a word. They were like, "Okay, Jimmy."
Next.
Yeah.
Next. That was my first bomb of an audition. So yeah, I wasn't the kid was like, front and center, like, hey.
Yeah.
So I think that was something that, I felt a kinship with Miles because
I was just about to say,
he wasn't that, flashy type of person as well. So
yeah,
not in his playing.
He didn't talk a lot either. He didn't talk. Only if he knew you and he felt comfortable around you.
Yeah. I've been accused of the same.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. Jeff has brought up season 7, episode 3. Apparently you can watch this thing online. There it is, 1981. Miles Davis is musical guest. Very cool.
What?
Thanks,
Weird.
Jeff.
Jeff, can you put that in the chat?
Put that in the chat, Jeff.
But I'm still going to send it to you, Ntare.
Okay, all right.
So you have 2 copies.
Okay.
Hey, man, I got a question. When you got into acting like deep as you are now, do you find it's like music? You said it. You referred to it as like. We talked about it before.
Yeah.
That it's like it's art, But do you feel like you when I see you work or when I check you out, it's like a musician, you know, it's like a jazz artist, you know.
Oh, thanks, bro.
Improvising, but it's, of course you're studied and you're you know, but
our mutual friend Frank Russell, the bass player.
Yeah, Frank.
Worked with him in Chicago, and I remember he was jamming before rehearsal, like when we were rehearsals, and I remember he tells me the story how I went up to him and I was just amazed at how he was just flowing on the bass. I was like, man, I want my acting to be like what you're doing, just to be able to flow, because you know they say there's nothing, as Duke Ellington said famously, there's nothing like music to sway the masses. And that's why you find whatever greatest acting performance you are drawn to, you probably find that there's music was a major component of it.
It's parallels.
Underscoring the performance or whatever it was, yeah. So I've always felt like that's been the carrot that's kept me trying to reach. I'm trying to grab that, the rabbit that the horse, the greyhounds chase on the track. That music for me, that's what it does.
I remember when Miles did Miami Vice, he played a pimp, Ivory. He did a Crime Story, and we did Crime Story. We were in a bar scene, but I was amazed on how natural he was. You know, just when when the light came on, he was in character. He was chill with it. You know, you got to see a couple of those clips too.
Yeah.
You know, but Don Johnson and Phil Michael Thomas.
And I spoke recently with Andy Garcia on this show, who is, an actor and also a musician who plays in bands. And he said when he's in with a good ensemble cast on a show, it feels like a jazz band. There's the same chemistry, and there's that same, more than just improvisation. It's this certainty, this trust that I know the other people have my back, will follow me, I'll follow them.
Yeah. I'm still blown away by it, like Kind of Blue.
Yeah.
I just can't believe that's improvised. Like,
I know.
I just don't understand. Maybe you guys have talked about this before, but Vince, can you just tell us just a little bit about that? Like,
Kind of Blue?
Because I understand it was improvised, but I can't. They had a rough sketch or something.
No charts.
No charts.
Just it's the biggest jazz record of all time. And what you hear on this record is a lot of 1 or 2 takes.
Wow.
Miles hated to go 3-4 takes because he said you lose the spontaneity of the music.
Right.
So they talked it down, and a lot of times Uncle Miles would,
how did they?
It was called modal music. So he, this is what I remember him sharing with me. It's like sketches, and sometimes he would refer to music without manuscript as colors. Like Ntare or Brian, I want you to think green. I want you, Ntare, I want you to think blue or orange, and that's all he would say.
Yeah.
So you had to come up with this concept in your mind to see, well, what would green be like, and apply it, no matter what instrument.
But all those tracks on that album, were they all recorded in that one session, or were they different?
I think it was 2.
Yeah, I think it was 2
days.
sessions. Yeah.
2 days. Yeah. But 1 or 2 takes, of that amazing record. I still listen to it every day.
I know.
I listen to Blue and Green. Bill Evans.
Oh, that is just heartbreakingly good.
Right,
yeah.
Right?
Oh,
it's
absolutely.
The tone. It's the tone and the way Miles sings, and feel with the chords. The whole band is like on fire. It moves me. It's inspiring. Still.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I know you said you like the 50s and coming from Bird and then into Birth of the Cool, but I get something out of all the records.
Yeah, me too.
A little bit,
Yeah.
A little bit of On the Corner, a little bit of Sketches of Spain, a little, Don't you, Ryan? Don't you guys agree?
Yeah.
Absolutely, because there's a consistent voice. There's Miles from beginning to end, So whether it's something like Tutu or Birth of the Cool or On the Corner or Walkin', they're all so incredibly different. And yet there's this singular voice of Miles, it was adaptable, it was flexible, but it's unmistakably Miles all the time. It's just such a unique voice, and it was so expressive of who he was as a human, you know. That it's all meaningful, you know, it's all important.
You know what's amazing, guys? I've been in the studio with him, and we've covered songs like "What's Love Got to Do with It," Tina Turner.
Yeah,
We've covered, but we didn't release it. I have a DAT of him doing "Natural Woman" by Aretha Franklin.
wow.
But his sound, you know, human nature, time after time. His sound, once he puts his sound on it, it just, you know, he owns it. You know, and all due respect to the composers and the artists that made the original songs, you know.
Yeah.
Right.
But
Right.
he had an uncanny knack for that, man. And
So are we ever going to get to hear those?
yeah.
What are you holding out for?
Yeah.
I'll bring him over to the man cave.
Well, what are you holding out
They're
for?
not gonna let us. They're not gonna let us release it. You know,
They're not going to let you release it?
because we did "Broken Wings" by a group called Mr. Mister. So I'm trying to get them to put that out. "Natural Woman" has to be transferred because it was a sound check when he did that, and you know, we'll take a visit. It's up to the labels actually.
Right.
You know, but I'd love to have like things that music that no one's ever heard. You know, like the vault.
Yeah.
The vault.
Where's the vault?
Well, I can't say it on I'll text you.
Hey, you could stop by any time.
I'll text you.
I love it.
Fort Knox,
Yeah.
baby.
I love it. Ntare, you did grad school in New York, right?
Yeah.
Were you able to see Miles again, or because I imagine you were checking out the jazz scene there in the mecca of jazz?
Yeah. No, I just saw him that one time.
Just that one time. Wow.
And then he passed away.
Yeah.
I was in New York, and I remember it distinctly exactly where I was when I heard the news, and went in my car and drove, and had so wild when you mourn for someone you never knew.
Well, when they can touch you like that,
Yeah.
you know, with their music, yeah.
It's wild when that happens.
Yeah.
But it was like someone dear and close.
Yeah.
And Tari, that's what it was for a lot of people, a lot of different people, you know, all over the world.
Yeah.
You know, we still get letters and you know, on his anniversary of his passing.
Yeah, it's not
which is
just
September 28th. I mean, he's entombed in a crypt in the Bronx, in New York, and people come and bring stones, you know, and put on top of the crypt, and you know, little notes and candles, and you know, he lives forever.
Yeah.
Well, he was how old, Vince, when he
passed away? He's 65.
65. You know,
September 28th, 1991.
tragic. Yeah, it's tragic. You know,
and everybody knows where they were when somebody close like that passes away. You know?
Yeah. Well, we can move, you know, because you mentioned, Ntare, you mentioned how music kind of undergirds, you know, good acting and good television. You know, The Chi. Vince and I were talking about this. Some of the best music on TV right now. Who programs you? Who curates the music for that show?
I have to look up the music supervisor. I don't know their name off the top of my head, but I've met him, and he's a great dude. They actually had a new person this last year. But I can look it up.
Because it's beautiful music, you know, a lot of local hip hop, including my friend Nico Siegel, who has an excellent jazz hip hop band out of Chicago. And then Vince, who is it that's playing trumpet for the soundtrack?
Gabriel Johnson.
Gabriel Johnson. Yeah. Absolutely.
My cousin Aaron used to manage him.
Okay.
But sad to say, he won't be on the. You know, they made him a different term.
Derek Big Tank Thornton.
Okay.
Is that the?
That's the music supervisor.
Okay.
Shout out to him. Excellent music on this program. I mean, he's got the music of Chicago to work with, which is just Chicago. You know, Vince grew up there. I lived there for a few years. Yeah. One of the best music cities in the world, if you ask me.
I was telling Ntare B that a lot of those scenes take me back. You know,
I was going to ask you. You grew up, man. This was your city.
That's the crib.
as a representation, did they get it right? Did they get that Chicago vibe right? Yeah.
I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of the show.
Yeah.
Until Ronnie was.
I know. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert.
Until Ronnie was.
And Barry Cole was the other music supervisor as well.
Okay. Shout out to Barry too.
But yeah, there was a great track at the end there was a great track when Ronnie met his maker.
Yeah.
I didn't remember the name of that song, but a lot of people talked about that. Some of the great moments that people have always referred to, there's always a great song, just going back to the point, that was anchored to that scene or that moment. So all praise to the music gods.
Yes.
They lift everything.
I was watching a clip today. You were bringing your mother, Ethel, to the club she owned, which had become a strip club. And she's a doorman outside, and she could hear like music coming from outside the club. And she tells the doorman, she says, "Now you tell that band to put some more funk on it and stop trying to sound like Herbie."
Right.
And I was like, okay, somebody knows music.
Yeah.
You know who that was? What's her name, Ntare?
LaDonna Tittle?
LaDonna Tittle was a big DJ in Chicago back in the day.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, when I'm looking at her, I'm like, wait a minute. And then I, did my research, and LaDonna Tittle was like, really super popular.
That was a great moment. Yeah, the show so authentic, and like I say, the writers, they know their stuff when it comes to music. Did you live in Chicago while you were filming?
Yeah, we would be there for 4 months out of the year. It was amazing.
Wow.
To be able to get to discover the city through the eyes of the show. And, the first season we were sort of under the radar because the show hadn't aired. But then the second and third season, for me, it was just like you couldn't walk a block without people stopping you or recognizing you from the show.
Did you discover the Hawk?
Oh, yes.
You know what the Hawk is, B? Oh, yeah, you live in Chicago.
I know the Hawk, yeah.
The Hawk, baby.
Yeah.
The Hawk can bite.
Oh, yeah.
Luckily, we got out of there before the real Hawk came. I think the last season we wrapped was first week of December, so it was just coming.
Yeah.
It'll get you. I was there for the polar vortex, -40.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know, why were you there then?
I was going to grad school.
Oh.
I was going to grad school. I was living on the north side. I was in the blues clubs like every night. Oh, it's the best.
Yeah.
We used to do gigs, man, and get off at like 3 a.m. So you got to picture this. You have your drums. You have to light your car key.
Yes.
And put the lighter to the door, to the lock of the door. Heat that up, and then hopefully when you get in the car, it'll start. It was that cold.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's why the music's so good, though. You don't have anything else to do but just huddle up and play the blues and drink. It's and the clubs there are iconic.
Yeah,
there's a lot of great musicians come out of Chicago.
Yeah. Herbie.
A lot of great music. Herbie,
you hit up the Green Mill in Ntare?
Yeah, I was going everywhere.
Yeah.
I didn't have as much time as I would like, but yes, I would hit different clubs. I don't remember the names of them, but there was a string of them, within walking distance.
Yeah. And you mentioned Ronnie, as you say, met his demise season 3. Now, how much advance notice did they give you on something like this?
I feel really lucky that they gave me an advance notice early in the season. So that actually helped make everything extra special. Because, it's like finding out you have a terminal illness.
Yeah.
And you only have 3 months left to live. So it was great for me because I just wanted to do everything I could with the character and had fun and relished every moment that last season. Because sometimes they don't give you a notice. You just find out.
Right. You get the script.
They're like,
the week of.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I'm grateful that their producers had the courtesy to let me know. And we all want to be able to say goodbye, have a memorable send-off. And sometimes with TV shows, sometimes the show can get canceled and you don't get a good ending, or you don't know how your character is going to end. But to have a memorable ending that's every actor's wish dream. So I felt like they gave me a really great send off. And you're not going to, for anyone who watched the show, they weren't going to forget what happened to them.
And it was heart wrenching. I mean, Ronnie was just kind of turning his life around, and came at the worst possible time.
Yeah, that's the deal.
We were hanging out, man, and you didn't tell me. You couldn't tell me a word.
Yeah, that was the hardest.
But you know what? But dig this: when Ronnie met his demise, that got to me.
Wow.
Really, and I'm sure it's got to a lot of fans of the show.
Uh-huh.
Not Ronnie.
I know.
A lot of people.
Right, Brian?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm like, Ronnie? I think I hit you up a text.
A lot of people reached out. I felt like I was consoling a lot of people.
People really concerned for you. Yeah.
I was like, it's okay. He lives on the reruns.
Right. I'm still here. Yeah.
I'm here. There'll be another show coming out. So.
And what kind of prep or what kind of research did you do for that role? Only because I feel like it's such, unfortunately, an all too common kind of trope, of a veteran who returns home, and is kind of lost, has no resources, and is kind of left to his own devices. Were you talking to people? Were you studying up, or what kind of prep did you do?
I did. Curtis Toller, who was an advisor on the show, and he's someone who had turned his life around, and he's someone who I really emulated in terms of the character. And he like that first season, I'd always show him the script and say, "Does this sound authentic to you? Would you say anything different?" And he was always on set, and I'd always consult with him just to see if I'm on the right track. And so he was really somebody I really leaned on heavily. I was just hanging out with as many people Ronnie's age, I never found someone in quite the sense of trouble that he was in, but people who were sort of, had turned their lives around were folks that I was trying to emulate and base this character on.
Yeah.
And you all had the people of Chicago down,
yes.
What you emulated. It's like everybody had a Ronnie in their family, growing up. My next door neighbor was like that.
Oh, wow.
Chicago. Oh yeah. So
I love Chicago. I miss Chicago. It's a beautiful city too.
Yeah.
So to see it cinemagraphically, it's a beautiful city, architecturally, and you get some of those winter scenes. It's one of the unique landscapes of all America.
Yeah.
Before we leave the Chi, did you have a favorite food spot in the city? It's a great food town as well.
My favorite place was an Ethiopian restaurant called Ras Dashen. Yeah.
Way up on the north side in Rogers Park?
Yes.
Yeah, or thereabouts. I know it. Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow. So it's we have a mutual favorite place then, possibly.
Absolutely, because I lived in Lincoln Square on the north side. Yep.
Yeah, it's amazing. The food is really great. And it's because it's hybrid. They mix like a fusion, they take traditional dishes, but then they have a sort of modern twist on them. And I went to my favorite Ethiopian place here in LA, and I said, wow, I was in Chicago, and they had this sweet potato with berry sauce, and they're like, that's not traditional. Because I was trying to get them to make it.
Yeah. That's the Chicago way, though, Yeah. You have a little bit of your own twist.
Chicago style Ethiopian.
Yeah, exactly.
Ras Dashen.
Ras Dashen. We'll plug them too. Yeah, beautiful, man. I'm curious about some of the playwriting you've done, because I can only imagine, just putting yourself, because your first play was a multimedia project solo show, right?
Mm-hmm.
Back in the early 2000s. Was that Brio?
Bio.
Biro.
B-I-R-O.
Biro. Okay.
And that was a true story of a relative of mine.
Wow. I imagine that's a lot like going from, playing in somebody else's ensemble. This is your band. You're writing the charts. you know, and your name is on the album.
Yeah, I've done a lot of new plays, and had been fortunate to be like on the ground and some development of some new plays and working with playwrights and giving input. So I felt like I had understood how to like develop these plays, and I was like, I want to try to write a play myself one day. It's like me trying to pick up the trumpet.
Right.
But luckily, I had a little better luck with the writing, in part because I found my uncle who had an incredible story. But yeah, it was my first play I'd ever written, and it just, I ended up touring around the world with it for 4 years. It premiered at the National Theatre in Uganda. From there, it went to London and New York Public Theatre, the New York Times Critics' Pick List. And then I was just touring it internationally for like 4 years. And yeah, it was a real blessing to be a part of it.
I've heard that writing dialogue is a lot like writing music, actually, you know, when you're dealing with rhythms and intonations and, you know, so I've heard of playwrights, you know, who go back and listen to Miles Davis and Frank Sinatra, you know, people who were really experts of phrasing, you know, because this is prose poetry in a sense, you know, you're trying to make music.
Especially when it's a solo piece too.
Yeah.
You really have to know how to carry and maintain the audience, and when to slow things down, when to pick things back up, when to really
timing, right?
Timing.
Yeah.
And was it your photography? Because I know it's a multimedia show. Was it your photography?
Yes, it was my photography and also the work of Chibate Aloysius Salongo, who was a Ugandan studio photographer, whose work I'm continuing to develop and making a documentary film about his work. He passed away before. I had promised him that I was going to, you know, do an exhibit of his work or do a book or something, but he unfortunately passed away before I was able to do that. So now I've been going back to his village in Uganda and finding the people that he had photographed, the subjects he had photographed some 20, 30 years ago, and taking their portraits now in present day. And so I want to do an exhibit basically featuring his old photographs alongside the ones that people I was able to take, and make a film about that. And, lucky enough to get Steven Soderbergh on board as an executive producer. And so now we're just waiting for when it's safe to travel.
Yeah, I know. Aren't we all? Aren't we all?
Yeah.
And that interest in photography, what sparked that? Was it work of a particular photographer, or just you carrying your camera around?
Yeah, we would, when we were, my dad bought a Pentax Asahi camera to take pictures of me when I was born.
Wow.
And I ended up, I think, using that camera more than he did. I just, when we would go on family vacations, everyone had like a camera. I mean, you know, those Polaroids were big.
Right.
But I was shooting with his 35 millimeter Pentax Asahi. I just fell in love with taking pictures, just in part from being able to travel throughout Uganda, being in these incredible locations where, you know, I just wanted to try to capture what I saw.
Right.
So that's what inspired me.
Are you a film purist, or do you?
I was for a long time, but now, you know, I used to shoot with Agfa Scala film, which of course, you know, you can't find or process now. I think we stopped making all that. Yeah, which was a black and white slide film.
Right. Wow.
But yeah, it's just, you know, we've now switched that camera, the Pentax Asahi camera. I shot. My dad bought it, and I shot with that up until the 2000s. So over, you know, 30, 40 years. But now you buy a digital camera, and you're lucky if it lasts you 2 or 3 years before another model comes out.
I know.
Whatever you had is obsolete.
That's with digital everything these days, you know.
It just doesn't, nothing is built to last.
To last, right.
It's
right.
built for the next update. That's how they hook you. Is like, you know.
And they change one little thing on you. So you can't use the old model. The charger doesn't work.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, oh my God, it's such a racket. I was buying a new camera every like 3 years because literally, there's 2 years from now, everything we're all jazzed about, you know, it's just useless.
I know.
And
Film
so
has
this
that.
is just now, but like what's going to happen like 50 years from now is like those files, we won't even be able to transfer them or like.
Right, they're going to be unreadable.
Yeah, unreadable.
Yeah.
So I have my old film and negative stuff that I can still hold up, look, take to a lab, they can print.
Lasts forever.
I literally have some files, or even old drives, that the old drives can't hook up to my new computer because the cables don't even make the same cable adapters. And I still have files where the new whatever photo software is not reading some old.
Right.
It has to be converted.
Right. So and you wonder how like that photo of Dexter Gordon with the smoke curling, you know, how it would look on digital. Probably not the same. You know. Yeah. So, and I'm sure you're an admirer of all that. Who is that? Francis Wolff, you know, Alkaline Blue Note stuff. Yeah.
So I just feel like I don't know, man. I don't know how. Yeah, like when you record now, Vince, how is it for you in the studio? Like, I mean, and in a way, it makes things a lot easier because now when I want to find a file, I'm not going through all my negatives and like trying to hold them up. I can just go through the date, whatever. It's easy to scroll through 5,000 photos of 500. But when I'm going through my negatives, that's impossible. Like I have pictures that I'm like, it's going to take me a month to try to find those.
Well, like you said, Ntare, I'm like steadily updating.
Yeah.
Updating. I just spent a grip of money updating Pro Tools, updating the Apple's the screen. But I have a lot of music on ADATs. You know, a lot of music on DATs. So transfers. Yeah. It's hard. Luckily, I kept my ADAT machines, and I still have my my DAT recorder, DAT player. You know, so you can't even buy a CD player anymore.
Right.
I know.
So, you know, like,
do you miss cutting tape though? I mean, do you miss being in there with the tape?
Oh hell yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
You know who was great at that? Tio Macero.
Oh, of course.
Legendary producer. They produced all the work with Uncle Miles. I call him the human Pro Tools. You know, because he would know where to splice and where to cut, and he was a monster with that. He was so incredibly talented with that.
Yeah.
That's how he did Bitches Brew and you know, a bunch of those iconic records.
Yeah. You know? They did get me on Miles and stuff too because you know it's newly remastered. I was like, I have the album, but now I got to get the other one where it's newly remastered.
Well, you know, he was mad at us because Aaron and I, my cousin, we decided to release like outtakes.
Yeah.
And he was like, he cursed us out, man. He's like, you know, you don't give away the you know, my secrets. But we figured the fans would love to hear, you know, different starts and stuff to different records, you know, different songs on
to hear the process.
With the the behind the scenes. I've heard Tony Williams playing tempo blocks. I've said this before, shared this before. And to me, as a drummer or to a musician, that's amazing to hear Tony playing tempo blocks. You know, starts and stops, and Herbie was the first time Herbie ever played Fender Rhodes was with Miles. You know, he said, "Play that." It was in the corner. You know, so things like that. You know, you have to. You know, we have to change with the times. But I'm an old head. I love the tape, and I love that, and I love that sound. It's warm. You know, but. Here we are.
We're giving away our age. We're talking about stuff. Some people are like, "What? What's a DAT?"
Man, I'm like, when they told me I had to come up to Pro Tools to the, I think it was 11 now or something. I think I was at 6. I was like, what? So,
but then sometimes they get you because you update it, and then whatever other stuff you had on your computer is not working.
Oh no, you got to get rid of all of that.
Yeah,
all of that. You got to get a new computer, right? New screen, and new outboard gear. I wish I could turn this camera around, but I had to buy all new stuff, you know. Because everybody, if you want to be compatible with all the studios, and other musicians with home studios, you got to update.
You're gonna have to do that in a few more years, bro. Sorry,
a few more days.
Exactly. Exactly. Meanwhile, flip open a Brownie camera, it'll still work. You know,
Yeah.
That's
you know,
right.
the stuff still was built to last. Yeah. Well, Ntare, man, I know this is the Miles Davis Miles Monday show, but I would love to hear about other stuff you've been listening to or other stuff you just dig in general. Just we could kind of get a better sense of the music you're listening to at the moment.
Afro pop.
Yeah, man.
I listen to a lot of Afro pop. Burna Boy. And my kid is into Burna Boy. Like, she just loves all of this stuff. Who is this other person? I gotta look him up. Basically, I have a 3.5-year-old daughter. So
Okay, so do I.
Oh wow!
Yeah, she's gonna turn 4 in December.
Oh great. So,
Mine is listening. Mine is not listening to Burna Boy though. She's listening to. She got stuck on. She's on a Dolly Parton jag, except she calls her Jolly Curtin. So I've been listening to a lot of Jolly Curtin. I should get her onto Burna Boy though.
Yeah, Burna Boy. I'm trying to listen to her first favorite song was. I'm trying to look it up. Was "See Me."
Okay.
But I think she's Nigerian.
Cool, man.
It was like a year, and I remember we played that song. She was just like so light up.
The music you shared when you came on Evolution, when you came on for the radio show Evolution of the Groove, man. We would DJ. You would call it some amazing records, man.
Oh, thank you, bro.
You know, I got to get that list.
Yeah, man. And who else is in your jazz?
Africando, which mixes African and jazz. Like,
okay. I was going to ask, like, who else is in your jazz library? We know Miles is the top #1 most played on iTunes in Ntare's iTunes. Who else is in your ecosystem?
Not iTunes. I have the CDs.
Okay, hey, right on, man.
Still have like
CDs.
Yeah.
What are CDs?
They're cup holders now. Yeah.
This will show you how much of a jazz fanatic I've been, because my son we named after Coltrane.
Wow.
His name's Coltrane. So yeah, I've been. That just goes to show you. So.
You have any vinyl, Ntare?
I had vinyl, but in all my moves, I let it go. I don't have a turntable anymore. But we listened to Coltrane's. We listened to Coltrane's "Love Supreme" when my daughter was born. Of course, for the second ones, you don't even have a playlist. You just
the show must go on. Exactly. Yeah.
We'll just name them Coltrane.
Right.
We had a whole playlist for their first child's birth.
Yeah, so do we.
Yeah.
Very cool, man. Well, Ntare, what's that?
You have a second child as well?
I do. Yeah, 2 daughters.
Oh, great.
Yep. A 3-year-old going to be 4 in December, and an 11-month-old.
Oh, we're not far
apart. 1 next month. Yeah.
We're close, because my daughter will be 4 in February, and my son is like 17 months. Yeah.
Okay, so you haven't slept in 4 years either, then. Yeah. Exactly. We're in the same boat.
Vince was like, "Man, I can't sleep. I'm not getting much sleep. How are you doing with the sleep?" I was like,
I got 2 kids, man. I never sleep. Yeah. No, but it's great. And it's great. My oldest especially loves music. She's got this brain for absorbing lyrics, and loves to sing, loves to dance, loves to play drums, loves to play guitar. So, and just like, we got some plastic drums. I'm not going to invest in the full one yet. My neighbors.
Those ones that are matte.
Yeah.
We got my daughter one of those. And
very cool.
Love it.
Well, just like you said about your mom encouraging, this love for the arts, it's so important. It's so important now that you're seeing, it's stripped away from schools and stuff, and community after school programs. That's where it starts. So it's Jolly Curtin, a little bit of Burna Boy. We're gonna, make it a party. Ntare, man, this has been awesome. This has been awesome talking to you about Miles, about Deshae, about little of this, little of that. Really appreciate this, man.
No, thank you guys for having me on a Miles Monday. Now I've checked off my list.
Very cool, man.
I can't be a Miles Davis fan. I'm not making way to Miles Monday.
Family, man. Vince's got
It's like going to Mecca.
That's
We
right.
gotta hook you up now.
Pilgrimage.
Yeah, we'll say it with the
We
swag.
gotta hook you up.
Yeah, this is
gotta
what
hook you up.
mine's missing something.
There you go.
We're gonna hook you up, brother.
All right.
Yeah, man.
And Ntare, man, if people wanted to follow along, see what's maybe coming up next year, what's the best place for them to do that?
I'm really bad on the social media stuff, I must confess, but I'm on Instagram at Beware of Time is my Instagram handle. On Facebook is under my name, Ntare Guma Mbaho Mwine. And on Twitter is Beware of Time, but I rarely am on there. So, but if something big breaks up, I'll be putting it up there.
Right on, man. We'll be looking forward to it.
I
All right,
love you.
Ntare, we're going to say goodbye. We'll see you backstage. We're going to sign off with people watching at home. Which Miles Davis album are you going to spin as soon as we hang up here?
Oh, wow. Not just one. I'm just going to be playing Miles all the rest of today.
There you go, man.
Hey, man, love you, brother.
Love you too. Thank you, gentlemen.
A pleasure, man. Thank you so much.
Happy Miles Monday.
Happy
Yes.
Miles Monday to you, too.
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
Bye
Peace.
now. What an awesome
Yeah,
dude. What an
Yeah,
awesome dude, man.
Yeah.
Ntare.
It's
That dude
incredible.
knows his stuff, loves music. You can tell he's a phenomenal actor.
Yeah.
Man.
And he's warm, you know. He's
Yes.
warm.
Yes.
He's a warm cat.
Absolutely. Thanks for hooking that up, man.
Yeah.
That we really enjoyed that conversation. And like we say, we did some sleuthing with that SNL episode, so maybe we'll put some links to that when we post it on our website. Vince, the merch, as always, milesdavis.com. That's where you can pick it up.
Shop, baby.
That's right. Our fall 2020 issue on it's mailed to subscribers now. It's all about the art of the album. We talked about that love for real vinyl. That's what this issue celebrates. The stories are up on our website. You need a subscription to read them, but you can subscribe right now for 99 cents per month. That's it. Vince, who do we got coming up next week? Oh, we're going to be speaking with the Potash Twins.
Yeah,
Potash
they were just
Twins.
on. I saw them the other day on Kelly Clarkson.
That's right. These are rising star food celebrities, celebrity chefs. They're doing the Food Network circuit, the Bravo circuit, all that stuff. And they happen to be amazing jazz musicians. So we're going to be talking to them about, Miles and Miles' love for good cooking and good cuisine. So that should be a cool episode.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Yeah, man. Vince, another great
Another
Miles Monday, man. All right, Vince,
Man.
you have a great week, man. Stay safe, stay healthy.
Yeah, man. You
All
too,
that
B.
good stuff.
Love to the family, huh?
Absolutely, man.
And everyone out there, wear your mask. And we got an election coming up too. So
That's right.
get
Vote.
ready if you're not voting by mail, come on out.
Make it happen.
Make it
All right,
happen.
Vince. So long
Love
to you,
you, B.
man.
Take care,
See
brother.
you, everyone. Thanks for watching.
Thanks,
Bye
Jeff.
now.